As you mentioned, the Department of Defense is requesting another $114 million for DEI initiatives. This is addition to $90 million already dedicated. We mentioned that these DEI professionals are making well into six figures. Is this bureaucracy necessary? Could you comment on it? What do they do?
It's a good question what they do, Mr. Chairman. The problem I have is the policies that result from such a bureaucracy. And there is, like you alluded to in your opening remarks, a lot of well-intentioned training, perhaps some of which is necessary. But what is not necessary are race and sex-based quotas that are prevalent in at least two branches of the military. And if it's a bureaucracy that serves to fulfill those policies that I think do more than simply educate people about bias or promote equal opportunity, but in fact promote a system of race and sex-based discrimination, that's problematic, and they shouldn't be receiving any money. And so we should be thinking about those policies that are more than just the promotion of diversity, but are actually an alteration to the personnel program in the military.
Have you seen people promoted? Not if Mr. Lohmeyer wants to jump in, he can as well. Have you seen people promoted or led into the military academies who are not the most meritorious because of this DEI ideology?
So, I never impugn someone's promotion or their selection. I take, a person that wears a uniform with the integrity that it comes with. But what is problematic is when West Point, for example, has racial goals for every admissions class. And admissions leaders are evaluated whether or not they meet race-based goals. I don't know what the difference is between a goal and a quota. And to me, we should do more to perhaps promote cohesive teams without implementing a personnel system that again alters the nature of how merit defines personnel policy.
Does this ideology create a mindset in which people view themselves as members of a subgroup or identify based upon where their grandparents or great-grandparents were born?
Perhaps. When I was in the Army just a few years ago, we got training on our conduct and how it was unacceptable to harass someone, to harm someone. And it seems there are some examples where there is now training on what you believe and how you've.
Could you get in trouble by boldly pushing an ideology based on merit? Would that be a check against you? You think in the military today? Mr. Lohmeyer wrote a book on it.
Yeah. I think he'd be better suited to speak on this. But I know there is. I've heard from a number of friends and folks who want to speak out that there is a pervasive concern about speaking out for the genuine integrity of merit as the foundation for military.
Right. I recently talked to somebody who wanted to leave the military because of this ideology. We'll go to Mr. Lohmeyer. Do you feel promotional decisions are being made primarily on diversity as opposed to pure merit in today's military?
I do not think that promotion decisions are being made writ large based on solely diversity for the purposes of diversity. I think that we've got tremendous leaders in the military overall. I think that we still care a great deal about merit, and that these policies that we're here to discuss today, however, do muddy the waters, and we do establish quotas. And I want to provide one example that Will just commented on that I experienced while I was in command in the Space Force. I had young people, underrepresented groups, that means non-white, coming to me and expressing their dismay and what was the word that the ranking member used? Disappointment, that they could no longer tell themselves. I don't know what their political affiliation was. I don't know what their religious worldview was. I do know what their ethnicity was, and they came to me expressing their disappointment that, hey, look, my entire career, I've been promoted based on my skill, my ability to execute a mission, and I'm not sure moving forward whether or not I'll be able to tell if I was promoted based on the way I look, my accidentals. And I can provide a lot of examples of that kind of thing going on. I can also tell you that we've had a failed pilot training experiment as recently as last year, the American pilot training class, it was in 2021 actually, in which we chose those selected for that pilot training class in Texas based on their gender and their ethnicity, so that we could make the pilot training class look more like the United States of America. That didn't turn out well, and so we should look into that as well. But
Could you quickly say what didn't turn out well?
well, performance suffered, and that's the point. I as an instructor pilot in the T-38, I trained young men and women from our allied partners and from foreign militaries. Like the general here, I served with foreign militaries. I did an exchange to the People's Liberation Army Air Force Academy in Changchun, China, when we still did that. And I'll tell you, we do have the best military on the earth. It's because there's a naturally occurring diversity in the Defense Department especially that we allow in a merit-based selection system, promotion system, and so forth, so that the best can be placed in these various positions that we hope they will use to execute a mission in defense of our country.
Thank you.